The transport
We'll
shuddered
get through
as it
this
descended
together.
through the cloud
You're not
layer,
alone.
its hull streaked with ash and the scars of kinetic fire. Inside, the air was thick with the smell of ozone, recycled air, and blood. The human soldier sat in the jump seat, his helmet off, methodically checking the seals on his gauntlet. His face was grimed with sweat and dust, his eyes the flat, weary gray of a spent round. Around him, the other soldiers of the Galactic Concordat were silent, the quiet broken only by the whine of straining engines and the low moans of the wounded. Their mission had been simple: extract a high-value political asset from a collapsing city world. It had gone wrong with the spectacular speed unique to wartime. The asset was the daughter of the ruling monarch of the Xylosian stellar sovereignty, a key Concordat ally. Her guard detail had been overrun by separatist forces. The humans' unit had found them in the ruined plaza, a final circle of defenders fallen around a central figure. The princess was a vision of alien grace, even in ruin. Her skin held the faint luminescence of mother of pearl, and the delicate silken filaments that crowned her head were matted with iridescent blue fluid her blood. A jagged shard of plasteel protruded from her side. Her large onyx eyes were open, but their light was fading, flickering like a dying star. The Xylosian medic beside her was frantic, his long-fingered hands pressed against the wound, his voice a high warble of despair. Her pressure is collapsing. She has lost too much chroma fluid. We do not have a compatible donor here. The synth plasma is not working. The human soldier watched for a moment, the sounds of distant battle, a dull thump in the background. He had seen that look before, on 100 different faces across a dozen different worlds. It was the look of the curtain coming down. He pushed himself up, his powered armor whining in protest. He walked over, his steps heavy on the deck. Will human blood work? His voice was rough. Unused dot, the Xylosian medic looked up, his faceted eyes wide with shock and a flicker of revulsion. Human? The proteins. The molecular structure. It is chaos. It could kill her faster. She's dying now, the human stated, his tone leaving no room for debate. He had seen the data streams. Xylosian circulatory fluid was complex, but human hemoglobin was bizarrely, aggressively universal. A stubborn relic of a predator past that could oxygenate almost anything if the body didn't reject it outright. It was a last-ditch field tactic, rarely used. Never elegant dot without waiting for permission. He began detaching the medical port on his forearm plate. Set up a direct transfer. Filter for the basics. Oxygen, iron, the simple stuff. Let her body sort out the rest. The medic hesitated, then moved, his training overriding his disgust. Lines were connected. A pump was primed. The human sat on the deck beside the alien princess, his back against a shattered console. He watched as the clear tube filled with the deep, vibrant red of his own blood. It traveled the short distance and disappeared into the delicate, pearlescent skin of her wrist. For a long minute, nothing happened. Then, a faint, rosy hue began to bloom under her skin, a strange color against her natural luminescence. She gasped, a sharp, ragged sound. The onyx eyes flared, not with their former light, but with a new, fierce, and startlingly human vitality. The medic chattered in astonishment, monitoring the stabilization of her vital signs. The shrapnel was removed, the wound sealed with bio-foam dot. The human soldier disconnected the line when the medic said it was enough. He felt a familiar lightheadedness, a hollow ache in his veins. He leaned his head back and closed his eyes, dismissing the event as a field expedient. A thing done. It was over. He was wrong. The medical wing of the Concordat cruiser Resolute was a place of soft light and quiet hums. The human was there for a routine debridement of a minor shrapnel burn. As the autosurgeon clicked and whirred around his leg, he felt a presence. He turned his head. She stood in the doorway, no longer in battle-ruined silks, but in a simple gray medical shift. She was tall, willowy, her crown filaments now clean and shimmering with delicate health. Her eyes, still that profound black, were fixed on him with an intensity that made his spine straighten. She walked forward, each step deliberate. She stopped before him, ignoring the medical droid entirely. "You," she said. Her voice was like wind chimes, but underpinned with a new, solid resonance. "You gave me your life." "I gave you a pint of blood, ma'am," he corrected, his tone carefully neutral. "Standard procedure." "It is not standard," she countered. "My physicians are in an uproar. They speak of symbiotic integration, of foreign cellular memory. They say your blood did not just sustain me. It altered me. I can feel it." She placed a hand on her chest. "A strength, a resilience that is not ours. And I remember flashes. A child laughing under a yellow sun. The smell of rain on dry soil. The weight of a weapon that is both tool and burden. Your memories." The human said nothing. The phenomenon was documented, if rare. Humans called it the echo. Their cells, their blood, it carried whispers of their being, and a recipient with sufficient neural plasticity could sometimes catch the tune. "You are leaving today," she stated. "Your unit is being redeployed to the rim." "Yes, ma'am." "I am going with you." He blinked. "That's not possible. Or advisable. You are a diplomatic asset. You need to return to your sovereign space. My father the monarch understands the debt. I have explained it. The debt is not political. It is integral." She moved closer, and he saw it then a faint, almost invisible tracery of crimson in the sclera of her onyx eyes, where before there had only been purest white. "Your essence is in me, soldier. A part of you is now a part of me. Where you go, that part goes. Therefore, I go." The argument raged up the chain of command. Diplomatic protests were filed and withdrawn. Medical reports were cited and ignored. The princess, whose will was evidently as fortified by human blood as her body, was immovable. She was granted a special liaison status, a title with no meaning. When the humans' dropship launched for the Dust Bowl world of Seir Maxima, she was on it. Clad in a hastily modified version of Concordat infantry armor, the war on Seir, Maxima was a brutish affair of trench lines and artillery drones. It was mud, noise, and misery. The humans' unit dug in on a scarp overlooking a separatist energy refinery. The princess followed the human everywhere. She did not flinch at the shelling. She learned to field strip a plasma rifle by watching him, her elegant fingers becoming quick and sure. She shared his rations without complaint. During a night watch, a probing attack hit their section. Plasma fire scorched the parapet. The human took a hit to his chest plate, the impact slamming him into the rear of the trench. Stunned, his breath knocked out, he fumbled for his sidearm. A separatist soldier, a hulking Braskin, loomed over the edge, weapon raised. A figure moved, faster than he thought possible. It was the princess. She did not fire the rifle slung on her back. Instead, she moved with a fluid, terrifying grace, closing the distance before the Braskin could react. She seized its weapon arm, twisted, and using its own momentum, slammed the creature into the trench wall with a crunch of chitin. The move was not Psilosion. It was pure, distilled human close-quarters combat, learned from the echo in her blood, executed with alien strength. She stood over the dazed Braskin, her borrowed rifle now pointed at its head. Her breath came in clouds in the cold air, and in the light of a flare, her eyes held a fire he had never seen in her kind, a fierce, protective, utterly human anger. She looked at him, the question in her gaze. "Stand down," he coughed, getting to his feet. We take it prisoner." She lowered the rifle, but the tension did not leave her frame. From that moment, she was not just following him. She was watching his back. She was part of the unit. The soldiers, initially wary, came to accept her. They called her Doc for saving a man with a field transfusion of her own, now uniquely compatible fluids. They saw the red in her eyes, the human way she would sometimes smile or swear or stand her ground. In a quiet moment in the dugout, he finally asked her, "Why? You have repaid any debt 10 times over. You could be safe on a flagship, not in this mud." She was polishing a scope lens, her movements precise. At first, it was the debt, the echo. I felt I was incomplete away from the source. She looked up, her dark eyes meeting his. "But that has changed. I am not just carrying a part of you anymore. I am carrying something new, something that is both Xylosian and human. I see the galaxy through 2 lenses now. I see your people's stubborn hope, your reckless courage to protect what is yours. You fight not for conquest, but for the idea that the person next to you gets to see tomorrow. This is worth protecting. You are worth protecting, not because of my debt, but because of my choice." The final assault on the refinery was a chaos of thunder and light. The human found himself cut off, pinned behind a burning crawler with 3 of his squad. Comms were jammed. Their ammunition was low. As the separatist drones advanced, a shadow fell over them. It was the princess. She had commandeered a light skimmer, weaving through fire with impossible reflexes, a mix of Xylosian piloting and human combat driving. She skidded the vehicle to a halt between them and the enemy, its forward guns spitting suppression fire. "Get in," she yelled, her voice cutting through the din. It was not a request. It was an order. They evacuated the position. Later, after the refinery was secured, the humans stood at the asterisk,